Video blog.
Hey there, this is Tim from Twice Circled, and welcome to episode 13 of the official Megaquarium video blog. Okay, new stuff. So I've added a fancy menu. Do you remember last vlog, I did a live code for the people who bothered to watch. There was a live code where I did an in-game menu, and then I threw it all away because I decided I could do like a cooler, better menu. So this is a bit of a departure from Big Pharma. With this one, we have the menu goes when you click the in-game menu button, you actually still jump to the main menu, and we do this fancy little blur effect. I mean, I'm pretty pleased with the transition actually. I think it looks pretty good, and you can access the options directly from here, and I'm especially proud of this. You can actually change the resolution. This should work. I did test it. You can change the resolution, so we've gone down to a lower resolution. Don't worry, this isn't your buffering. This isn't your video going down in quality. This is just lowered the resolution, and then we can resume the game completely where we left off. And actually what's happened in the background is I've recreated all of these buttons at a lower resolution, but it's actually seamless, and I'm really pleased with that, because before with Big Pharma you had to actually like save your game, quit, and then change the resolution and then kind of load it up again. You can even switch to windowed mode. You can change the cursor mode between confined and unconfined. I'll add loads more options, but I like this. Yeah, this menu is really cool. It's taken me a few days to do it. It's taken me quite a lot of the time since the last vlog, to be honest. And I've also been busy with other stuff, like I finally moved house. Unfortunately not into my final house. I've just moved in with my girlfriend into her flat, and because we were planning to buy a place together, but unfortunately that place has been pushed back. It's not fallen through, but it has gone back, so it is what it is. So yeah, loads of stuff been taking my time lately, but hopefully from here on out I should have a bit more time for the game. So yes, fancy options menu, that's pretty cool. And the other idea is basically when you go to here, it automatically kind of takes an autosave of the game. So if you quit by clicking this button up here and then run it back up, this won't be in the background when you load it up, but if you click resume, it will jump straight into this game. So you've got this kind of, if you trust it, you don't actually have to save the game if you're going to just come back and then resume the exact same one. So we'll see how that works. I've seen other games do this sort of thing where you can kind of continue your game quickly. And eventually, what I haven't done yet is I need to add like a save and load button when you go to this menu in game. Obviously, you don't have that in the main menu. Only when you go to it from inside the game. Well, you need a save button. That's it. The load button should be there all the time. So I need to add that. Okay, so that's one of the things. Unfortunately, basically no new actual gameplay stuff. But what I will, there is a couple of other little things I polished up. I polished up the rating screen that I introduced in the last proper episode, which is all about your kind of guest requirements, this whole thing. I've kind of tidied that up a little bit and given it a nice little animation, so I'll show you that at some point during this. And I think we're going to have to hire another staff member. And but yeah, for the rest of this vlog, although it will be a relatively short one, I'm just going to talk through my ideas for the future, because I strangely enough, I have had a fair amount of time to think, which is normally the thing I kind of don't have. Normally I'm just always programming and coding, and actually I can sometimes get a little bit behind on my design, and I reach this point when I'm not sure what I'm going to work on next, but actually I have stuff to do now for the next like month at least. And I've had some cool design ideas, so let's kind of go. I'll go through them now with you. So yeah, one of the big ones is, and some people have commented on this, you generate points quite quickly. And obviously one solution to that is just increasing the cost of all of these things. And I will do that probably to some extent. But I also want to make points feel more valuable. I also want to make it so you have to work a little bit harder for them. Because there is this kind of exponential creep in points, because these guys, it's that they get their stats, they increase. As long as they're relatively happy, their stats increase. And then these numbers get times by their size, and their size also increases. And then you've got things like, the scenery. I mean, this, you can actually spam this. You can put like as many of these in as you like and get quite a lot, like serious bonuses. And that's okay. I want to reward the player, but for synergizing, between all of their stuff. Oh God, sorry, beeps. Didn't put my phone on silent. Apologies. So unprofessional. Um, I want the player to feel able to do that sort of stuff, but it seems to be kind of almost like too early. Like, you only need to have basically the first scenery and if, obviously as many kind of say colourful fish as you can get, and you can make these pretty powerful tanks. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did talk about this idea of how the guest requirements is going to obviously stop you just from spamming loads and loads of those tanks, but I still think some other measures could be good. So the first of those is, I think these, I call them, oh God, let's move this out of the way. These, I call these trait boost sceneries, as opposed to sceneries like this, which give like a boost to your tank chemistry. These ones increase your traits. These, I think I will make limit one per tank. I thought for ages about how I could do it any other way, but the truth is, as a player, you're going to want to create sets. You're going to want to create, and this is definitely part of the game. You want to create like a tank with like loads of colourful fish, or loads of hardy fish, or loads of venomous fish, and that's fun because you're going to be unlocking new fish throughout the game. And so I want there to be this kind of thing. Oh God, so it's getting very crowded, where you go, oh look, oh look, this one's colourful. I can add that to my other two damsels, which are colourful, and now I've got 3 colourful fish. That's really cool. So I don't want to nerf the whole set building thing, because I think that's a really cool, fun, compelling part of the game. But what I do want to do is stop it so the best thing possible for the player is just to fill it with this one type of scenery. And I also want to make it so if you can create 2 sets in one tank by, for example, having, say, this one and this one, this one's hardy, this one's colourful, so it's actually perfect for colourful and hardy species. So, and if you allow the player to just spam them, I think it completely takes out that idea. You're always going to be better off just concentrating on one trait, whereas if it's one per tank, you can have one of these and one of these, and maybe there could be like another one which is much harder to unlock, like a big plant which takes up 4 spaces, which gives you like another +3 per species, so that like later in the game, if you're making a really big tank, you can then get this like massive extra bonus. That's totally fine, but I don't want it to be like you can just place one of these down in every square. So that's the first thing. At first I thought it was a bit clumsy, but I've decided that actually I think it's a pretty good solution to the issue that I have. So that's the next thing. Now I'm going to close all these and show you. I wanted to finish that before just showing you this. So you should hear a sound effect now. I might actually just turn the volume up a little bit. Sorry if this is too loud. I want to make sure you hear it. So I've just doubled the volume of the game there. So you guys are used to this. Oh my God, I spent a lot on staff salaries apparently. I don't think that's right. I don't think I really did. I think that's a bug. God, I don't think I ever get through a video without finding at least one bug. Staff salary reporting. Okay. I love how I get off track. Like, this is like, I've got like 3 things to talk about in this vlog, and like I'm already like so off track talking about bugs and all this other stuff. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, so, fancied it up a little bit. Now that sound effect, the keen-eyed will recognize it from Big Pharma for when you complete a level. That's the sound effect it makes. I'm going to have a new sound effect. It's just, early days. I wanted to put something in there. And it feels a bit more satisfying when you level up, I think. And, I'm going to add some other stuff. We're going to have, maybe if you hover, maybe it'll actually just say, definitely if you hover, it will say what you're going to unlock at the next level. Now, currently you don't unlock any new stuff. You just get more people coming. So, but my idea is this is kind of like an extra layer of unlocking beyond the points. Unlocking probably new species and certainly new equipment. Just to kind of stop the player having like way too much choice at the very beginning of the game. But don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of player choice, so I'm not going to be like railroading the player into always doing the same thing. Like, I don't like that. I didn't do it with Big Pharma. I don't plan to do it here. But just cutting down the options a little bit, so it's not an option really just to save up for sharks on. Now I'm saying it, I'm like, maybe it should be. We'll see. Maybe I won't stop the. Maybe I won't put a level cap on the species, on the families. Maybe I'll only put it on equipment. Because I kind of like the idea that you could rush for sharks. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think? Okay. It makes kind of more sense that you have to have like quite a prestigious aquarium before you're allowed to keep sharks. Okay, so the other idea I've had in terms of limiting the amount of points you can make early on, and just stopping like really, really strong early game strategies, forcing you to collect quite a lot of species, forcing you to unlock lots of different scenery and stuff before you can make the mega points, is this idea. It's called named fish. Now you're probably thinking named fish, but all the fish are named, right? This guy's called Bobby Jr. I'm thinking of changing that. Now this might sound quite drastic, but hear me out, guys. What I'm thinking is, actually, by default, your fish come as an unnamed fish. And this is quite normal for an aquarium. Lots of your small fish aren't named. I mean, I'm talking like a proper public aquarium. You know, they're part of a large shoal. You wouldn't name every single one of them. And so it would just say, you know, this will just say like Kim Demoiselle, and this will say Azur Demoiselle, maybe with a number. And unnamed fish will not gain additional traits. So what's cool about this is it gives me a lot more control on the balance early on. It does stop you like getting super valuable fish very early on. An alternative, of course, would just be to make it much harder to get the trait increases. But hear me out, because I think this is better. So they will just stay at the basic thing. So you know, what you see is what you get: 2-2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-2-3. And one of the cool things about this is it does actually make these values much more valuable. So currently, just by having a fish for long enough, you know, like you can definitely make these early bluefish better than these clownfish. And I kind of want to reduce that a little bit. I want to put a bit more value on new fish, because I do think you can just get so many points just by spamming these little guys. And yes, there are certain, you know, overall, once you've got a fully grown yellow tang, it's going to be worth more than a fully grown Azur Demoiselle, but not as much as you'd think, because the trait bonuses really level things out. Even though this one starts with a colourful of 5, once they're both fully grown, this one's probably going to have a colourful of 8, and this one's going to have a colourful of 5. So actually, it goes from being 2.5 times 5 to 2 to only 1.5 times 8 to 5. But of course, naming your fish is a really important part of the game. But the way I'm going to do it is, as you level up your aquarium, you will get naming rights, okay? And I might add a few other things. Maybe there's other ways of earning naming rights. Maybe this is a resource in itself. If you do a certain mission, then maybe you get a named fish. Maybe you can buy named fish from a special merchant who comes around, but he only has like a few, and maybe you can only buy one, something like that. So really like put a lot more value on this idea of these named fish. Now, named fish are super great, okay? They can be any species. Oh, and when you get a named fish right, it's up to you which fish you name. So I'm not taking away that power from you guys, you know? You still get to choose your favorite fish, and if anything, what I can do with this, by doing this, is make the named fish even more powerful. And I want it to feel a bit more like Pokemon. I want it to feel like you've got this attachment to this individual fish, which you just don't have at the moment because you have too many of them. And I can't make them powerful, because then, you know, you just have all of your fish are powerful. You know what I mean? So sometimes by pulling some stuff down, you can actually push other stuff up. So basically, you're going to choose a fish name, you give it a name, and you know, instead of all of them coming ready named, you're going to name them all yourself, which I think is also much better. And this is the powers of named fish. First off, they're going to be able to gain traits when they grow, and they'll gain traits most of the time when they grow. And they also have the potential to gain a new trait. So these guys have colourful and hardy by default, but they have a new one called cute or shy or something like that. And of course, by collecting all of these, what I like about this is it diversifies even more. So even within a single species, by naming them, you can have like extra little variants, and this gives you a bit more flexibility in when you're creating an aquarium full of different traits, because as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, your guests all want to see different traits. Decorations, let's find a good one, and these are going to get more and more varied. 3 colourful, 1 cute. Yeah, that's a fun one. You see cute. Currently, to get cute, you need to make clownfish, but what if by naming a coral hind you gave it the cute trait? Haven't decided quite. I think it's probably going to be randomly generated, but it would be cool if you could influence it. Like maybe if you fed it a certain diet, it'd be more likely to, or gave it a certain supplement, it'd be more likely to gain certain traits. I haven't decided yet, but just the fact that only your named fish will gain the additional stats is going to make them much more powerful, and it will decrease the overall amount of points that you'll gain, which means I won't have to increase these numbers quite so much. So you could really make one tank very powerful by putting a named fish in it. Like these are going to be quite these values are very high for a tank this small. I expect these values to be more like 6, 7, 8 for a tank this small, but if you put a named fish in it, then absolutely you could get to these sorts of values. Anyway, so that's named fish. I hope you're as excited about that feature as I am. I think it's going to, even though it sounds like I'm taking something away, I think it's going to make the game a lot more fun. And the final thing I want to talk about today is my plans for improving the feeding mechanisms, and this is hopefully something I'm going to be able to work on the next few weeks. So currently feeding is very boring, but I do think it's going to be one of the most important mechanics in the game. And what we're going to do is I'm going to massively vary the types of food that fish eat. And so can you imagine adding one of these little boxes, a different one for each different type of food? That's the first thing. Okay, so you're going to have to really plan your layout and make sure that fish who eat the same things in a similar place. You need for an aquarist to be able to feed all of the fish in this one tank at the same time. They're going to need to feed them all similar types of food, although they'll be able to kind of mix them together and feed them at the same time. But like they'll need at least have the boxes close. They don't have to. Aquarists will be able to carry more than one type of food at a time. Don't worry, that would be just insane. Very good. So yeah, wow, these are really happy people. But here's the really exciting bit, and I'm going to end the vlog on this, okay? The really exciting bit is, and this is taken directly from real life aquariums. In real life aquariums, one of the things they do is to feed some of the smaller fish. They don't feed them, chunks of mussel or frozen fish and this sort of stuff, because that's kind of too big. They actually eat these microscopic organisms called zooplankton. And the only way you can get frozen zooplankton mixtures, but another thing that they do is they actually grow them behind the scenes in these special culture tanks. So another thing I'm going to be doing is, as well as having different types of food come in, like frozen form and in dried form like this, you're going to have these extra boxes which will actually grow a culture inside your aquarium. So you drop one down and it'll probably take 1 to 2 days to mature, and then it'll kick out maybe 5 of that particular food type, and it might be like an amphipod, or a mysid shrimp larva, or it could be copepods, and all these different types of zooplankton. And so you've got this kind of engine where you're having to actually generate your own food supply, and I can imagine you guys could really get a kick out of that. The planning, I know a lot of you guys want there to be a bit more planning in the game, and I think this idea of having to actually kind of have these storerooms full of like food growing is really cool, and could add a lot more to the kind of logistical issues. I can already see this room being just full of different types of food, so you're going to have to be really careful in the way you plan the layout of your tanks and your food supplies. Okay, that's it for this week. Just to finish with a quick shout out. Next week I'm going to be in Brighton in the UK at a conference called Develop. Now I don't know if anybody is from the industry. It's an industry conference as opposed to a kind of public convention, but if there are any industry people who watch my vlogs and you'd like to meet me, or you'd like to come and see my talk, I'm giving a talk there on the Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning in room 5. If anybody's there and you'd like to come see the talk, then please do, and also feel free to come up to me afterwards and introduce yourself. I'm always happy to meet people, and don't worry if you can't make it. I will be doing a video version of this talk, but yeah, this is a talk about marketing in the games industry, so it's less for the players, it's more for the industry people, but hopefully some of you guys might make it there, and some of you guys might find that particular video interesting. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you next week for another vlog. Alright, bye.